Hello, everyone. Welcome to Prep Along. I'm just making sure that I am live. And let's see, do I have sound? Let's see. A one-man job here, so just bear with me for a moment. Yes, do have sound. All right. Welcome to Prep Along. Today is the ideas version of Prep Along. I have a lot of ideas for prepping for the week. So let's get down to it. So, reflections, like what worked since the last time that I saw you. So, what really worked last time is, well, first of all, prepping throughout the week. Like, since I started this program, my time actually spent cooking has decreased a lot, and I'm actually cooking more because I'm cooking smarter instead of harder, as opposed to prepping all of my meals at once. I found like I prepped according to category, like protein, then plant-based protein, animal-based protein, then drinks, in like specific orders, and it's just made it a lot easier. So I'm going to tell you about some of those things that I've been doing a little bit later on. Eating when hungry, that's been, when one eats when they're hungry, you actually eat less and you get to lose weight, if that's what you're looking for, like me. So that's been really helpful, eating when I'm hungry, and that's come from a masterclass that I watched with Michael Pollan, and he is like a editor, book writer in the food world, and he's a masterclass on intentional eating, and it's really, really great. I recommend checking it out. Michael, Pollan, and he really dives deep into intentional eating, knowing what you're eating. What else worked really well? Blistering vegetables. So it kind of sometimes you're always cooking, and you at least me, I'm always cooking, and new techniques come up. And the other day I think it was cabbage, and I like cabbage. Well, cabbage lasts a long time. Like, I have this one Indian dish that I make with cabbage, and I never use up all the cabbage. And so I made a hamburger, and I wanted vegetables on the side. And so I'm like, let me just like chop up the cabbage and heat it up and add some salt to it. And then it got a little burnt. Then I'm like, oh my goodness, it's blistered. And that was incredible. Blistered vegetables, peppers, onions. It's a blistered means just like you cook it with a little bit of oil so that it's just a little bit burnt, and the flavors just come out and pop out, and it really makes a difference in the taste of food. So try out blistering. So that just means that whatever vegetable you have, you just cook it until it like starts to like char. For you, determine the amount of char you want, and then you should be good to go. Okay. What else worked? Having dense proteins. So the last 2 weeks, I have been just having dense proteins like ground beef, as well as kidney beans and edamame and lentils. Well, not so much the lentils, but the edamame. That really like is a way to fill you up, having those lentils ready and then having the sauces ready, the flavorings that you're going to put in it ready. Like, for example, 2 days ago, I made a poke bowl with edamame, avocado, some sushi ginger, rice, soy sauce, and wasabi. And that really, it was the amount. I'm going to show you how much edamame I had. So uh, let's see. That's how much edamame I had. Very, very small amount. I would say that is maybe 1 ounce of edamame, and I couldn't even eat the whole bowl because it was so filling. So having dense proteins around really makes a difference. Like if you want something that's filling and you don't want to snack, just having the proteins around is really gonna make a difference. All right, so that's it for reflections. So it's summertime, and summertime means drinking time, and you can get a lot of satisfaction in your drinks from teas. I am a big advocate of teas, of cold brew teas, as well as hot teas, but it's the summertime, so I'm going to be focusing on cold brew teas for this section. I'm going to give you some ideas for cold brew teas that you can use for this summer that I've tried that are incredible. All right, so let's see. Let's do this view. All right, so this first tea, this here is Celestial iced tea, cold brew iced tea, and it's red and white hibiscus with blueberries, and it's great. And let me tell you how I make it. What I did was I got, for each tea bag, 1.5 cups of water. And so I put it in like this picture here. It's almost done. 1.5 cups of water. And then for each 1.5 cups of water, a tea bag. And then I added some simple syrup. And so I let it brew for about half an hour, and to really get that flavor in there. Then I took the tea bags out and added the simple syrup, and that was it. Like some teas, you can add lemon and ginger. I'm gonna get to that when to add it. But if you're trying out a new tea for cold brewing, you want to just brew it first and then taste it and see if you want to add any sweetener to it. Then if you want to add a sweetener, you want to do like a test. So for example, let me show you what I did. So I have like this little cup here. And so this is the actual tea that I made. So I made a little test here and found out for myself if I liked it or if I didn't like it. And then decided if I wanted to add anything to it. You do not need to add anything to it. It is great as is, not even ice. So what you want to do, you want to get it really, really, really cold. So you don't have to add any ice to it, because you're going to get that dilution and it's going to just make for a different experience. And this is really, really good. It's all natural. It's a great mix of tea leaves, and you really want to try it out. So I'm drinking it right now. All right, the next tea I want to show you, which I'm sure you've probably heard about, and that's Earl Grey. Um, and so I've been drinking Earl Grey for years and hot. And so the last 2 years I've been drinking it with iced. And so it's the same format, like I said before. For every tea bag, you want to use 1.5 cups of water, let it brew for at least a half an hour in the fridge, then take it out, and then you want to test it. So this works really well with lavender syrup. Let me show you that. So here we go. So this is from the Monin brand, and it really goes really well with the Earl Grey. Earl Grey is made with a tea leaf called bergamot, and the lavender really goes really well with that. So you want to try this out. You can get this on Amazon. That's where I get that's where I got this one, and this is a staple in my pantry. And now, in terms of when to add flavorings to your tea, you really want to taste it first, because sometimes I've made teas where I've just thought, oh, let me add some lemon, let me add some ginger, and it did not work. So I'm going to give you some ideas for some flavorings that you can use in your teas. So this here is ginger concentrate, okay? And it is like pure concentrated organic ginger. And they add a little sweetener to it. And so this Earl Grey tea worked really well with a few drops of the ginger concentrate, and then I also added some agave syrup. That worked really, really well. And then you can also use just also some fresh ginger. Nothing like fresh ginger. And like I have a juicer. So the juicer like sucks all of the juice right out of the ginger, and it's like there's nothing like ginger. It's like it literally like wakes you up. Like it's such a great plant. And so that is an idea for additives to your tea for the summertime or anytime. All right, I got another tip for you. All right, so I was doing some research, food research, my regular research, and I read that there's now something called beanless coffee. Yeah. So, and the premise behind, you might be saying, okay, why would someone want to have beanless coffee? Well, the premise behind it is that it's more sustainable, because coffee takes a lot of resources from the earth to grow. And so with beanless coffee, it's like made without beans. So some of the ingredients that are used in it are date seeds, dandelion roots, figs, rye, barley, cocoa husk, mushrooms, and the one that I'm going to tell you about was made. I'm going to show you. So let me. All right. Well, this is called Atomo. It's made by a brand called Atomo. Flipping the image on your screen, but it's a Atomo brand, and this one is half Arabica beans, and the other half is other upcycled ingredients that I just mentioned, like date seeds, dandelion, rye, barley, etc. And what I really like about this tea is that it's very, very, very smooth. And there are not a lot of coffees that I can drink just black. The only one that I could drink before that I can drink black is Blue Mountain Coffee from Jamaica, and that tea is that coffee is extremely expensive. My uncle brings it for me when he's up here in the United States, so I always have my stash. And so beanless coffee is made with half Arabica beans. Those are the beans that most coffees are made with, and then half with the upcycled ingredients that I just mentioned. So I make some, and so I'm drinking it iced. The ice is gone right now, but it's a really great alternative if you like coffee and you really don't like the bitterness of it. This is a way to explore different types of coffee and to also be more sustainable to the earth. All very good. And you don't need to add any sugar. I usually don't add sugar to my coffee with the milk I add to it, but this one, it almost tastes kind of sweet, believe it or not. So, yeah. Okay, so one thing I want to talk about is the protein. So I want to talk about animal-based protein and specifically chicken, ground chicken. Like, ground chicken is really lean, and I found that you can make several. You can make when you are preparing your ground chicken or any ground type of meat. I think the like a very good idea is to not add too many seasonings to it. Because if you're going to be prepping throughout the week and you want to make different meals on a regular basis, your sauces are really going to give the flavor to the meat that you're preparing. So you really want to just like minimally season your ground chicken and then let the sauces do the work for you. I'm a sauce man, and so like I believe in sauces. Like the U.S. dollar says, "In God we trust. In sauces I trust." When it comes to cooking. All right. So now, in terms of starches for pairing, these are some ideas that you can use. You can a great pairing is with lo mein noodles. Um, and this is my already open bag. And lo mein noodles are great if you want to have an Asian inspired dish. I think lo mein noodles are more commonly available as I travel around the United States. For sure in New York, I see them more and more in the Asian food section. And what I do is I they cook in like maybe 10, 15 minutes. But they take a while to cook. They do this. It's not like you can just put it on and then it's gonna like cook really quick. It has to be completely cooked. It cannot be al dente. You have to fully cook it. Okay, and a now if you're going to go the Asian way in terms of pairing, hoisin sauce is great. It is like a really thick, it's a thick, sweet sauce. And if you're looking for just like a quick weeknight dinner and with just like a sauce and some rice or some lo mein, this is really good to pair with your ground chicken. Works really, really well as with soy sauce. But hoisin sauce has a bit more, has more depth of flavor compared to soy sauce because it has that sweetness. But you can definitely use soy sauce if you want to add like a Asian flair to it, as well as some fish sauce. Fish sauce is kind of more, a little bit more complex. Now you're kind of going into like the Thai food area. So hoisin sauce is really a good play, and it works really well with ground chicken. And in terms of vegetables, bok choy works incredibly well with ground chicken and lo mein noodles. Like I know, like the last 2 weeks, I've been having just blistered bok choy with just salt, with lo mein noodles and a little bit of soy sauce. That is just like heaven. So bok choy works really well with that. All right. Now, if you want to give your ground chicken a Mexican flair, um, what you can do is in terms of sauces. Uh, so you want to get a sauce that really speaks to your your sensibilities. So there's not like one like canned sauce that you can get. However, one uh, sauce that I use, it is a habanero sauce, and here we go. So this I've been eating for years, and so what I do is I get my ground chicken and I'll actually specially prepare it in terms of seasonings. I'll get some cumin, some cilantro, some salt, some pepper, and then I will pair that with some black beans, and then this does a lot of the work. Like it has so much flavor. If you're not a person who's into like hot sauce, then this may not be the way to go. But if you're a hot sauce person and you like hot, this is um, the brand is El Yucateco. So definitely try that out if you want to give your ground chicken a Mexican flair. You can also get chipotle sauce in the can, and they're really, you want to get like the Mexican brand chipotle sauces. Um, I like El Moreno, and that's really good. And in terms of pairing vegetables with your Mexican dish, radishes work really well. Tomato works really well. Um, Iceberg lettuce works really well, chopped very finely with Mexican dishes if you want to have like a bowl. And so, those are some ideas for pairing your animal protein. And finally, plant based proteins. And lentils are a great plant based protein because they cook really quick. They cook in about 20 minutes. And I'm going to share with you one plant based protein I made recently. Not that. Uh, so this here. This here is a lemon vinaigrette lentil salad. And I made it with, I literally was like looking in my fridge trying to finish up the lettuce that I had. So this is what I came up with. So it has lentils cooked, they were freshly cooked, romaine lettuce, poblano pepper, red onion, lemon juice, salt, and sunflower oil. And this was literally, I didn't literally just put it together, just wanting to have something that was tasty and that I could make really quickly. And then here, this is one of my favorite Indian dishes. It's so simple to make and it's so incredibly tasty. It's called rajma, and I got it from a Indian cooking book called Simple Authentic Indian Cuisine, and there are many vegetarian recipes in there. And Um, it cooks in, well, you have to, I pressure cook the kidney beans, and then the actual prep for after you make you boil the beans is maybe like 30 minutes, and it's super fresh, and like you will be completely satisfied. It's not like a dish where you're eating and you're not gonna feel like you're satiated. This will definitely do that for you. So those are two bean recipes, plant-based recipes that you can use. And my last tip is to also, if you're actually if you have like a protein, and you want to make it into a salad, you can. So like, I'm going to show you another. It's not a plant-based, but it's a mixture of the two. And because having a varied diet is needed, we don't get all of the proteins and the vitamins and minerals that we need just from plant-based diet. I am definitely vegetable forward, but there's validity in eating animal-based proteins. All right, so this is uh, a zug sauce. It's a Yemeni sauce with egg and greens. So I love zug sauce. I get my zug sauce at Trader Joe's, and what I did was I paired it with some mesclun salad, and then I paired it also with some boiled eggs, and then mixed it, and I got this. And it's a great breakfast if you want a savory breakfast. This is the way to go. Zug works very, very well for breakfast. Another idea for a savory breakfast is to, well, I'm still sharing. Like, another idea for a savory breakfast is to get rice cakes, some cottage cheese, and then this habanero sauce that I was telling you about. Cottage cheese works really, really well as it's milk, so there is some protein in there, and if you want the savoriness, hot sauce works really. That hot sauce I just showed you works really well. You could also have a pokey rice cake. So after I made my rice cake, the poke bowl I told you earlier about, with the avocado, the edamame, the soy sauce, and that stuff, I thought about, I had some salmon, like gravlax. So I put the gravlax on the salmon. Then I got some sushi ginger, and then I got a piece of avocado, and then I put some soy sauce on it. It was great. Another savory breakfast. So these are some ideas that you can use when you are prepping for the week. I hope you got some ideas for prepping for yourself. And I think I'm done. I think so. There was like, I'm on vacation this week. So I just had, when I have time, like I'm gonna cook and I'm gonna experiment. So I just had so many ideas, and this was a good program. I really hope I gave you guys a lot of ideas, and my goal is to give you ideas for cooking, to make cooking fun, and to give your taste buds something new to look forward to on a daily basis. Well, thank you for watching Prep Along, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.